Welcome back to Fire Emblem Thracia 776. Last time we went beyond the river and beyond Reinhardt. In fact, I actually managed to capture, every named boss in that chapter, which, doesn't actually often happen with me, so I'm proud of that. And now, we're going to be progressing further towards Munster Castle, and meeting a true legend of Fire Emblem. It might not be who you think it is. Leaving the troubled waters of the River Thracia behind him, yeah, troubled is right, Leif approached Raedric's stronghold, Castle Munster. There, emboldened by news of Leif's victory, the citizens seized the opportunity to flee. However, they were caught in the crossfire of two forces, the Magi, led by Cid, who were trying to defend the civilians, and the Knights of Munster, who were determined to stop them. The region had become a war zone, and the fighting grew worse with each day. Especially since there are actually two more factions involved, the Thracian Wyvern Riders and the Loptrian Mages. So this is going to be a fairly interesting and kind of chaotic chapter, but here's the thing. This chapter directly adapts the tail end of Genealogy of the Holy War Chapter 8, specifically the events around Munster Castle. So if you know that, you'll know a certain character who's going to be appearing in this chapter. Also, these civilians here, I feel like some of them were given unused portraits by the this fan translation, but I'm not really sure. They don't have a lot of movement either. So, yeah, these civilians, there's actually no reward for saving them. They only exist to preserve canon with Fire Emblem 4, where once you reached Munster Castle, a bunch of civilians escaped, and rescuing them with an ally would give them a free level up. But here we have a couple of Loptrians who have sleep staves. So that's kind of annoying. They can be easily silenced, but I want to check my reserve of silence staves because I really want to make sure that I have silence for the next chapter. We've also got, finally the enemy is setting things up with promoted knight squadrons. We've got some pretty decent Duke Knights here. We've got some Arch Knights with pretty good stats and great bows. And those appear to be the only enemies on the map right now, but that will change. So there's going to be a thief that spawns from here on turn 3. You really want to rush to this area as soon as possible. There's also going to be a whole bunch of wyverns who spawn in the mountains, but their AI is a little interesting. It kind of depends on certain story events. These houses here don't actually give you items. Only the ones over here do. And we also have 3 Venom Ballistas over here. Now, if you can manage to get a flyer here, kill that one, and then canto into the middle of these other two, you'll be able to avoid any return fire from them. But you'll also expose yourself to the wrath of the man, the myth, the legend. It's Penta-Axe General! So this guy, I knew he was in this game somewhere, but I forgot it was this chapter. This guy is basically like the 313 Archer, the Gatekeeper, and a lot of other mimetic NPCs from the series, Rallyman as well. He has 5 axes. I am not sure what... Oh, he also has the Charm skill, because of course he does. He has the ultimate riz of having 5 axes. If you can in fact, actually, mounted characters can capture him, so... I could maybe try and take those. Oh my... Look at all these warp staves I have. Oh, I actually have a pretty good amount of silence staves. I think I'm pretty much all set to silence those 2 sleep guys. Look at all the staves that I've broken over the course of this run. That should kind of tell you something. I only have 5 stamina drinks left. That's important to know. Because who's fatigued right now? Sarah is not, but I do want her for the next chapter. I think I want to leave out Lara because I also want her to be refreshed for the next one. Oh, Xavier's just not fatigued. But I don't want to bring him here too because there will actually be Loptrians spawning all over the map, and they definitely pose a threat to somebody with a cost. Huh. Lenoan can use silence, and it's really no big deal to me if she gets fatigued because she's not part of my main team. So I think I'll bring her. An important note about this map is, if you like cavalry, this is the last outdoor map in the game. Get all the use out of the cavalry and flyers you have while you still can. Do I trust myself to use Sarah in moderation? I don't really think so, but if I'm careful, she might avoid being fatigued. Even though she's only like halfway fatigued, I'm gonna let Nana rest here because I'll be relying on her a lot going forward. Granted, this is my last chance to use Nana on horseback though, but no, I'll stick to this. I actually have Salem here. Even though he's gonna be silence bait, he's gonna be another ensorcel user, and I kind of want 2 people ensorcelled on turn 1. I need a universe where these guys don't have a lot of HP, and also Penta-Axe General doesn't have 20 con. This should be good. I've also cleared up some inventory space on, on Fergus, Dean, and Callian. I feel like I've had my inventories too overcrowded and didn't have enough space for captured items in earlier attempts at this. And let's go. So, the name of this chapter, The Fiend's Lair, this is one, actually it was the part of the Little Manster patch notes that I personally found the most interesting. In Project Exile, they called this chapter the Twofold Traitor's Lair, and they came up with this backstory that makes sense for why Raedric gained the title of Twofold Traitor. Basically, he betrayed Leonster to South Thracia, that's what got Leif's grandfather killed, only to betray the newly conquered by South Thracia, North Thracia, to the Grand Vale Empire. So yeah, the opening narration had this whole thing where, because of that, he became known as the Twofold Traitor. This was because, in Japanese, this title is just called, like, the Mao, or Demon King's Castle. This is a fairly generic title for, like, bad guy in a lot of Japanese media. It's kind of like roughly analogous to Dark Lord in Western media. Also, who in Blazes is kind of an appropriate thing to say for someone with the Fire bloodline. But yeah, so Project Exile's logic was they wanted a cooler title for Raedric because he's kind of the main villain of this game. And I think it makes sense, but it wasn't really supported by the Japanese version, so this one just changed it to The Fiend's Lair. Really all it means is just Raedric as a really bad person. No real reason to give him a complicated title on top of it. As much as I do think the whole Twofold Traitor and the logic behind it is very cool. Oh no, Ced's now become Talim, being able to see the wind and stuff. It's been such a long time since I looked into, like, actual Soul Calibur character lore. I'm sure Talim's a great character. It's just, I used to make fun of my sister for life. Like, she was my sister's favorite character, so I always used to make fun of her. Apparently, she was high tier in some of the games. So, Syas is not just protecting the children, but he's going to be delivering a very important sword to Leif. It's Bragi's blade, from one of the Crusaders. It was kept under heavy guard. Oh no, don't worry, a heavy guard means nothing to this guy. So we're finally getting to that point where we get that item that can pierce the main villain's vulnerability. It seems like a pretty common, trope for Fire Emblem to not give you this until fairly late in the game. The blade can only be wielded by a swordsman of holy blood. Now, this is actually kind of strange, and I'll explain this once we actually get the sword itself. Because yeah, sure, Leif has holy blood, and he can use this, but the logic behind who can and can't use it is a little weird, given that it's absolutely confirmed that Marita has holy blood, but she can't use this. I have a theory as to why the sword works the way it does. But yes, after all that hell he put us through, Syas is now a blue unit under our control. I feel like it's been ages since we actually got Raedric's theme. He's kind of been a little irrelevant in the plot since the Munster escape, but I still think it's important that we go and take him down. Like, as far as this guy goes, I don't actually think he's a bad villain for how little screen time he gets in the grand scheme of things. Also, this guy has a really cool portrait, and I kind of wish it was used for more than just a generic boss in one of the later chapters. And of course, there's our good old standard Loptrian bishop here. The Magi must not be allowed to seize control of the gates, huh? Why do I get the feeling that's going to be a fool's errand for you? So in Genealogy, you would be making this attack with Sigurd's army, with Leif as just a regular participant. But here, Leif uses his own allies to fight. There's a lot of theories as to why people think that Leif's, like the units of Thracia, are not mentioned in Genealogy, and some people think it's because Genealogy is a more large-scale conflict with like full-on Crusader descendants with godlike powers, whereas these people are all like, you know, their stats are like high relatively speaking for the small scale of this game, but when it comes to actual Genealogy characters, they're basically just regular grunts. I don't really like that interpretation personally, because I like to think all of the Thracia cast are still quite strong in their own right. Really, it's more just the fact that they didn't exist back when Genealogy was, made. Yeah, I would assume that every one of the child units represents a whole group of children. But as I said, Syas is now a blue unit under our control. And he has 5 authority stars, though his affiliation is an unknown party. I'm gonna give Syas's bio now, because this is when he technically joins, but I do need to make you aware of one thing. Ced will also be joining in this chapter, but if you recruit Ced, Syas will leave your army. You must choose between the two of them.
It's all going to plan.
The Master Tactician, the Bishop of Flame, bearer of many titles, and he's finally ours, and he's the biggest tease of all time. Firstly, he doesn't keep his 10 authority stars as a playable unit. No, he only has 3. And just to tease you further, he has more in Chapter 23 itself than when he officially joins. Still, a 9% hit and avoid boost to your whole army is nothing to sneeze at, and he has 3 Vigor stars and an A rank in Staves, essentially making him another sleuth with way better stats. Speaking of stats, he has near cap magic and can Nosferatu tank at base if you want to do that, but Syas is more for support than for offense. Because of this, his Nile skill rarely sees use, though there are some mini-bosses in the final chapter with dangerous skill combos that it might help against. The elephant in the room, and why I call this guy a giant tease, is that in order to keep Syas in your party, you have to refuse to recruit Ced. And a lot of people won't want to do that, given that, well, that's Ced we're talking about. However, I've sometimes seen it described like this. If you are confident that you have enough combat units to take on the end of the game, it may be better to choose Syas for his support abilities. Meanwhile, Ced is for if you think you really need an extra fighter. So, Syas. Syas has a silence staff, and that means he can be one of the people who silence these Loptrians with the sleep staves. Now, there is an event that will trigger on this map, when you get within a certain distance of the castle, and Syas himself can trigger it, but if he does, he needs to dodge a whole bunch of ballistas. So also remember, this area right here, this is a dead end. If you want Syas to escape, he actually needs to head this way. And so let's just start things off with silence. By the way, this Loptrian right here is actually targetable by the Berserk staff for the Berserk glitch on this map. For some reason, all of the late game enemies don't have the boss as the first enemy spawned in. But okay, we've got you silenced, now Lenoan needs to also silence, but since the boss has 17 magic, I need to ensorcel her. And that means, unfortunately, using up a little bit of Sarah's fatigue. If I carefully manage things, Sarah might not end up fatigued by the time the map is over. Also, it's good when she gains HP. Because, yeah, okay, she just has 4 more fatigue to go. Now, Salem is, he is going to ensorcel Olwen, and that's probably the only role he'll take in this map. Olwen actually just has enough, has low enough magic to get silenced by the boss if she's an ensorcel, but she can equip the Blessed Sword to, push her out of being silenced. So yeah, here's the thing, I kind of want to kill off some of these ballistas early. Yep, that's definitely a dead ballista. And I'm doing this less to make the coast clear, because these ballistas aren't actually a massive threat to me, except for people who are going towards the 3 villages and the thief over in the east. But what I'm actually doing this for is to clear the way so I can warp somebody in here. And so Lenoan is going to go ahead and silence the other sleep dude. And this should give her an A rank in Starves to use warp. Oh, actually, really good level on Lenoan too. But yeah, that's A Starves. So I could dance for Olwen and bolt another ballista, or I could actually start my warp party right now. Though if I do that, I will need to put Pentaaxe General to sleep immediately, otherwise he'll attack me, and, yeah, this guy has surprisingly, well, I mean, not so much really long range, but, like, if you try and trigger the special event with Sias on turn 1, Pentaaxe General will attack him, and in fact, he often goes for a capture. But okay. Now, sending Conomore over to rescue these villagers is kind of a bad thing, because he has a cost. But, he also has 10 move, which is higher than the average paladin. And yeah, like you're not going to be in range of these ballistas for a while. Okay, that's actually a good movement proc on Dean, because I like to get Dean towards the center as well, though the 2 bow knights are a bit of a worry for him sometimes. Because I like to have the option to trigger the quote-unquote event with Dean early. I should also mention, if you trigger this event on turn 1, you actually won't even, a certain squad of enemies won't even spawn. Yeah, I'd really like Fergus to actually be able to mount, though, if possible. I mean, Salem can also potentially sleep Pentaaxe General. There's a lot of options here. Though Sarah's the one with the sleep staff here. I might need to get that to somebody else. Now, I've got to be very careful where I put Lara because of those, Loptrian mages that spawn kind of all over the map. But yeah, I think I will actually start warping Fergus in now. We have a lot of warp staves, and this map, I think, also lends itself very well to warp shenanigans. Just because there's a lot of endlessly spawning Loptrians that can come out of basically anywhere that you really want to make sure that they are, not going to be, that you deal with as few of them as possible over the course of the map. So, yeah, I am mostly going to do this for bragging rights. I just want to capture Pentaaxe General because the fanbase loves him. So yeah, he's asleep now. And none of the other guys can reach Fergus yet, although one ballista can still shoot at him. And it's in fact good that none of the other ballistas can reach yet. Also, I might actually like to warp Callian in later, and I'm definitely warping Leaf in later. Yeah, it's going to be kind of amusing. If I warp Leaf in, Sias is going to have to double back and, like, go back. But after the ballistas are dealt with, it should be fine. There will be reinforcements, like endlessly spawning cavalry reinforcements from here, though. Those could be a problem for Sias. Thankfully, none of them have ranged weapons. Ossian's also a pretty good warp target. Like, there's a lot of people who I could really use up there. But Glade and Finn are actually gonna visit these villages. Oh, we saw that firsthand. But this is good intel. It turns out the staff that can unpetrify people is close by. This means we might have a means of saving Avol. Now, this actually isn't the reason why I don't want Sarah to be fatigued. It's actually Chapter 24X that Sarah needs to not be fatigued for. But as long as Sarah is alive and you get the Petrify Curing Staff, then you'll unlock 24X. You can't win against Garnef, I mean Raedric. He even kind of looks like the you can't win against Garnef guy. But yeah, he's got a relic, the Loptrian Fang. Yeah, interesting one of these. Kaga actually loved this trope on... In fact, I believe all of Kaga's final bosses use this mechanic. They'll explain what it is when we actually fight him. It is a little weird we're not finding out about the blade that can pierce his protection until now. Like, with the Black Knight and Path of Radiance, they tell you about that the moment you meet him. And then in, you know, Fire Emblem, Marth's games, they tell you about the Dark Sphere and how only the Light Sphere can pierce it relatively halfway through the game. So again, like, you know about it well in advance, at least. So yeah, I'm kind of glad these guys can't reach Fergus just yet, because if they could, they'd attack him, fall asleep due to the sleep edge, and that would actually trap Fergus in there, because even if an enemy's asleep, you still can't move past them. And the only way to get out would be to capture that enemy and release them, and that would also lower, Fergus's stats. So this is probably Salem. Yep, there we go. Sorry, Salem. I guess this guy knows a traitor to the Lotrian sect when he sees them. I mean, I could restore staff him. Also, yeah, that paladin, I do want to put that guy to sleep. Yeah, these guys, unfortunately, have a hard time escaping because their movement is terrible. But that's kind of a good thing, because it does delay the enemies. So yeah, this guy, he has effectively 10 magic, so I can't put him to sleep with Salem. But, okay, so... oh, right, you know, I do want to warp more people in there. So, who's it going to be? Callian or... I mean, Ossian's pretty effective against most of these guys, though I do want to make sure he doesn't fight the boss, because otherwise the boss will just die. Okay, again, how... okay, I get 2 more dances with Lara before she gets fatigued. So, let's use these on... I need to warp Leaf as well, though. You know, maybe actually Ossian should slug it out on foot, because, let's just say there's gonna be a big annoying Wyvern squad that comes in later in this map. Also, I am gonna go ahead and see if I can... okay, wait, 3. That, I believe, is just barely a kill. That should drop me down to 29 damage. Then the last one actually wouldn't die, so I'm gonna have to take it out with Fergus. So yeah, Fergus goes here, uses the Silver Sword, and then just goes, how far should Fergus go? I mean, Fergus is not totally invincible up here. So sometimes it's actually good to have him go on this cliff, so only if one thing can attack him at a time. Maybe I will do that. But now the coast is clear for Connemore to head forward, and he needs to head forward his full movement every turn if I want to block off that thief. Otherwise, I'll need to use another warp. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna warp Leaf in. I'm gonna need Leaf up in this general area regardless. Do I want Leaf to be right there on the front line? No, I think I'd like to give myself options at this point. Again, this means that Syas will need to turn around, but the blisters are gone now. And yeah, with the Kingmaker equipped, Fergus has a decent amount of avoid. Now here's where I wish I could lock in the ranges of specific enemies, because everything here, Dean is fine against, except for the Bow Knights. Oh, right, you're going to be able to capture that child. And I believe even if I move here, they'll still be able to capture the child, so... one of the children's is getting captured. Also, yes, Syas is, Syas also has his own warp staff, and that might also be useful. I've also got Asbel's Blizzard to fall back on as a last resort. I mean... okay, and then I can trade Sleep to... actually, wait, let's not do that. I was dumb. I'm like, oh, I can sleep with... nope, I can't sleep with him, because of, I can't have him use sleep, because, he doesn't have, 10 magic. Okay, you know what? I think I actually am going to walk Callian in now, because Callian, gets doubly benefited from Leaf being over there, because he has a support with Leaf. So, let's yeet in another cavalryman. They shall be as brutal as the one in Persona 5. Okay, yeah, so if he canters back, he should be able to, like, he'll be benefiting from, yeah, the Leaf support as well as the canter, and, hey, I've got a Paragon Sword, which also gives me +5 defense, so, yeah, let's go. Let's see how your Grutlances deal with me now. Yeah, I don't have a lot of power with the Paragon Sword, though. But yeah, this is kind of how you're supposed to use Callian, but it's a shame that it's not exclusive to him, and that he doesn't get this until, like, one chapter after he first joins. But yeah, if I put you here... Oh! Huh. Yeah, that's another reason why I like investing in Callian, because he has a Vigor Staff. Like, he has at least more than the Scrub Brigade do. Okay, I will be able to canter back into range of Leaf still, so... Maybe I could actually do this. Because, yeah, this is the last chapter where you're able to use Cavalry, so I might as well make the most of it. Okay, yeah, there's Adept. Finally, that scroll actually did something. But, like I said when I first gave it to Callian, it's just like seeing a completely blank skill list on a character is... Also, that's a terrible level up, but oh well. Seeing a completely blank skill list on a character is just painful. Okay, he doesn't have Neuron's Scroll anymore. I guess that would explain why he's not gaining a whole ton. Fortunately, everybody up here has scrolls, so they're not going to get crit. Just looking at Pern there, I actually saw, oh wait, no, I'll talk later, because this is the thing. This right here is the bane of my existence in this chapter, and of course it's Wyverns. So this guy right here, Coulter is absolutely fascinating. Because this guy shows up in Genealogy of the Holy War as well. But, I mean, so there are other bosses that are fought in 2 different Fire Emblem games, like Oliver and Garneth from, the Marth games. But this guy is the only one who is fought in 2 different adaptations of the exact same battle. Because the fight with Coulter here is the exact same one as in Genealogy. And he behaves very similar to how he does back then, though. His portrait's different, though. Back then, he was a Zane palette swap. I do wonder how, like, they would handle things in a remake. I'd like to see, like, the Zanes get some form of distinction from each other, but still look similar enough to each other to keep the joke, because, I think they're a meme in the Japanese fandom. Like, there's, like, at least 6 people who all have that variations of that portrait. But anyway, Altena is the voice of reason for Thracia, as is typical. Yes, join forces with the rebels, that would really help us out. Unfortunately for her, Travant wants to take advantage of the chaos to make one last attempt at capturing North Thracia once and for all. He's getting very desperate at this point. Yeah, like, part of me almost wishes that, like, they're not above adapting chapters from Genealogy. Like, part of me wonders whether or not Thracia would have actually been, like, if it would have been a better ending if we actually did adapt the beginning of Chapter 9 and, like, Travant was the final boss of Thracia. I do think that would have been a better conclusion to Leaf's arc, possibly, but it also would be a little redundant to people who play Genealogy. I don't know. Like, Raedric himself, I think, is fine. It's just the guy that you fight after Raedric who's a problem, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah. Thracia is a great game. It has potential. It has, generally considered to be the worst final boss in all Fire Emblem. Which is kind of saying something, because Fire Emblem doesn't have great final bosses. Okay. Please stop using Mirror Move on your level ups there, Callian, and actually get strength. Like, you're already promoted, getting more levels is just, it's like, I can't even make the argument, oh, at least it's 1 more level closer to promotion, that I normally do when someone gets a bad level up. Well, that's better than nothing. I almost wonder if it's actually better to level him up in the indoor chapters next when he has, getting a little worried about him right now because, despite his +5 defense from the Paragon Sword, those Bow Knights are actually quite scary. Well, 1 more defense is good. I am not sure why he's not getting strength, though. Yep, this is what I was afraid of. These Great Bows hit very hard. Like that. I think 1 more Great Bow doesn't kill him. Oh, but there's the boss! Oh yeah, but that guy's not even in range. Okay. And Boss Man didn't actually reach me. Okay, good. I will need to heal, heal Callian, though. So here's the thing about these wyverns that make them a bait of my existence. Oh, by the way, Altena's here. Hilariously, her stats are actually random. I've seen her with different stats in different attempts at this. Also, she gets adept from Quan, her dad. And Vantage is just from the Dragon Pike. So you are, apparently, you're not even allowed to steal her items. Like, she actually specifically has something that prevents you from stealing her items. But you can't kill her, or capture her. And here's Coulter. He's actually pretty scary. He has a Rider's Bane and really good stats and 15 attack speed. And also his squad also all have Rider's Bane, Silver Lances, and pretty good stats. They're also all actually promoted, Draco Knights. So, here's the thing. It says they don't move now. They don't move until you trigger, quote-unquote, the events, at this castle. Once they do, they're supposed to just head straight to the castle and attack the NPC who spawns on it, but from my experience, they instead capture the children and kill your cavalry with Rider's Banes. So, preferably, I'm not going to activate this event until I can just end the map and not have to worry about the Wyvern squad. Though I do sort of want to kill Coulter because him dying is a canon event. Okay. I probably shouldn't waste my boltings. I'm not in range of this guy. So, okay, Lenoan has to put the Paladin to sleep right now. Sarah still has sleep, so let's go ahead and trade that over. Now, also, this is the point where you need to be very, very, very careful. Okay. One warp use will put her up to fatigued, though, so let's not do that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and Sleepy Time Farden. Just because I want his Flame Sword. Though actually it's light enough for Pern to steal. Speaking of which, the thing that I was going to say about Pern is that... so I saw in the comments on the previous chapter a hilarious strategy with Pern. And that is to steal... so how heavy is the Paragon? Yeah, it's only 9 weight. Is to steal this from the hero with Pern. And then the hero goes to the shop and buys himself a Killing Edge. So then you wait for him to do that. Then you steal the Killing Edge he bought. Let him buy another one and repeat for infinite Killing Edges for no money. That's just such a hilarious strategy. But, okay then. I need to be careful of triggering, again, the events. Because, yes, also these right here. We're going to be getting reinforcements from here now. So, preferably, I'd like somebody here to hold, wait, no, hang on. Okay, no, one more. She gets one more. Marita's down here, though. I mean, I don't think she needs to move what I want her to do. So... Oh, wait, I ran out of warp. You've got an extra one. Yeah, but you got an extra one. If I assume that I have a warp staff, the answer is generally yes. Unfortunately, she's equipping the Iron Blade, but I'm going to send Marita here. I would say not every endgame chapter in Thracia is going to be this warp skippy, but it kind of is. You have the warp staves at this point, you may as well use them. But yeah, that should hold them off. It's mostly a thing of, I just want the coast to be clear for Syas to talk to Leaf. So on that note, I mean, actually Leaf needs to be the one to talk to Syas, but you get the idea. Leaf is going to just take out this Bow Knight right here. I don't know if he should have gone... Okay, well, that's a crit. Saving use of those. I've also got rid of some of Leaf's weapons, so he also has inventory space for the staves on those Loptrians and also potentially other things. He's getting a lot of redundant level ups now, but it's fine. Yeah, I probably should have thought that one through, because now okay, that's a problem. I mean, Callian can attempt to javelin this guy to death, but it's not likely unless he gets a crit. I don't really want to send Dean in there just yet. Okay, I think in terms of where Leaf's position right now, he may have actually triggered the event, so hang on. This could, require drastic measures, so let's go ahead and... That is actually not a... Huh. I mean, I quadruple him, but still, that's, 71's not a hit rate that I'd like to see here. Okay, that's probably a crit? Yeah, there it is, yeah. Yeah, sometimes when they're that close to an enemy, they have to fly up to continue attacking, and that tricks you into thinking they crit you. But yeah, with that, I can send, These should kill the Great Bow guy. Okay, so, right, this could actually be a bit of a problem if those wyverns become a thing. But Sire should be fairly safe to go here. Unfortunately, he doesn't have, like, a physical fortify staff. So I want to start taking that guy's axes soon. But yeah, let's eliminate the final... Let's just use the Master Sword. Wait, no, I probably should heal him first. Do I have any, like... Oh, I think I've used up most of my AoE healing, haven't I? Okay. Right then. Now, like, Loptrians can potentially spawn there. So, like, if that happens, then it's going to be really bad for Callian. But, I do believe that's an auto crit on my second javelin throw. Oh, I got a depth, though. And there we go. I guess it wasn't an auto crit, but I did get the crit eventually. Thank you, Adept. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get a move on with capturing these guys, this guy, and this guy. I suppose these people who spawn here can go around here, but I don't think any of them can reach Callian yet. Oh, also, Ponomore needs to go here. Because otherwise a thief will spawn, and, like, I really don't see how you're supposed to get to those villages without, without blocking the thief or using warp staves. How about you head down there? I may have triggered the event too soon. We will see. Is literally every enemy except the boss incapacitated? I think they are. Yeah, that's where the thief should have spawned. That's you guys, now Loptrians. Okay, one there. Yeah, one there. That's why you want to keep people like Lara away. From, like, the main action. Because anybody who can potentially get one-shotted by ambush spawning Loptrians need not apply to this chapter. I also love how the gimmick with this boss is that he lost his tome. But I'll talk about that in a moment, because, yeah, I just want to explain this. So, the Loptrian spawns here are some of the rare ones that don't have rewarp staves, so they will attack you when they spawn, if they get the chance. They can also spawn near where Conomore is in the villages. The Tome of Venin. Yeah, essentially Venin is Fenrir long-range Dark Tome, except it also poisons you. And if you steal it, it turns into Fenrir, because they don't want you using poison on your side. Yeah, well, that sounds almost a Wayne level, but, you know, a Wayne wasn't genuinely evil like this guy. So he finds this tome on turn 5, but generally speaking, the boss doesn't last that long. Yep, I crossed the line, I triggered the event. Because when you get close to the castle, this happens. The Magi have taken control of the city. This is also keeping in the canon events of Genealogy, because there, Cid manned the manned Munster Castle until you got there to recruit him. And that means, for getting in the way of canon and for picking a fight with the most awesome Fire Emblem character of all time, Alpha Rad over here instantly gets owned. Yeah, I call him Alpha Rad sometimes because, like, you know... So, this provokes the Wyvern Squad to charge, and... the wikis say that their AI prioritizes going straight for Cid, which will get them all killed easily. It will lower his Force-City uses, though, which you don't really want, because, unlike in Chapter 4X, Force-City doesn't have infinite uses here, and its uses carry over to when he joins you. However, from my experience, these guys will go for you if you're in their range, and they will go for those civilians if they can capture them. At the very least, the civilians don't actually give you any rewards here. I may have already mentioned this. I'm actually recording this chapter over 2 days. The civilians are only here because in Genealogy, there were also some civilians around the castle, but you could rescue them and get a free level up, so they don't want to dispute the canon-ness of that. Oh, and I may have accidentally skipped the rest of that cutscene. I have footage of that because I failed this chapter surprisingly often. And it's entirely because of those don't double her, please. Oh, man, she has Ensorcel, so yeah. 1 damage. And she didn't get doubled anyway. She can also equip the Blessed Sword to be even more resilient against these guys. And Merida should be okay here. There we go. Sometimes I forget that she has a 5 times follow-up critical modifier, just because, like, her skills usually ensure the enemy dies before she even gets to the follow-up attack. Or that could happen. Interesting, okay. So yeah, they usually go pretty low to start with, and yeah, Altena always escapes. The wiki also told me that if Ced is somehow inaccessible to these wyverns, they'll flee the map, but, that rarely happens for me. Like, I tried rescuing Ced with Dean once, and they still attacked me. So I'm not sure if that's true either. But yeah, Ced has spawned here, so now I can explain the choice between Ced and Syas. Ced is on the castle, and if you talk to him, he'll join you. If Ced joins you, Syas will leave your party at the end of the chapter, so be sure to unload his items on someone before he does that. If you want to keep Syas, there are 2 ways you can do that. The first is to kill the boss before triggering the Ced event. But the other is to rescue Ced off the castle so Leaf can seize it without you talking to him. That way you're guaranteed to keep Syas. So yeah, bear that in mind if you like Syas and want to keep him. So before I forget, I'm going to have Conomore start visiting these villages. This one's the most important one to get. The rest of them are kind of meh, but I like to get 100% village completion anyway. Because yeah, this is a physics staff. Only got a few charges left. That'd imply that all of the ones you get are partially depleted because it's a full-use physics staff. And like I said, Loptrians can spawn here, but weirdly, Conomore actually does quite well against them. And like I also said, Blessed Sword. Perfect time to try this out. See, I have 30 resistance right now, but it doesn't really matter because this is a brave weapon. Yeah, at this point, Olwen finally starts coming into her own, sort of fitting for where she is narratively, because most of the enemies are promoted, so she's actually gaining good experience right now. But yeah, so if I do this, Marita is... yeah. I probably should actually do this instead. And maybe Vulnerary, because yeah, otherwise multiple of them will attack her and they're not going to be blocked. But yeah, all these guys with Rider's Banes right now, I'm a little concerned. I think Dean is fine to go up against them. It's just I also want him on capture duty. I can always use Syas' Warp Staff on Leaf later though, so... I do want to do this conversation though. As long as Syas is alive at the end of the chapter, you do still get this sword, but I like this conversation for multiple reasons. You also need to make sure that I can end this map before, yeah. I wonder if my next step should be Warp Leaf next turn, talk to Ced, then end the map the turn after, because I need at least 2 more turns to get the other 2 villages. And I hope this means that none of the children get taken away by the wyverns. Also, it's funny how Leaf has never physically met Syas before, and so doesn't realize that he's the terrifying Authority Star of Doom that he was fighting. We now have Bragi's Blade. It is written that only it can defeat Raedric. Except not really. You can still beat Raedric without it, it's just kind of hard. Or you could do the super cheesy way of beating Raedric, which involves a Master Thief and Tina. Yeah, I want to try and show off that method because it's hilarious, but this is how you're intended to beat Raedric. So it's a Sacred Blade that can only be wielded by someone of Holy Blood. Now, this is actually very interesting. This kind of implies that Bragi might have been like no, wait, no. Male paladins can't use staves. Maybe he was a Master Knight. Because, like, why would he be able to use swords if he was typically, like, a staff user? So they established here that Ced would have been able to use it if he could recast into a swordsman. Also, this line's amazing. Surprisingly raw dialogue from Leaf there. You must bring that sword! It's the only thing that can breach the enchantment! Yes, the only thing! We'll see about that. But here's Bragi's Blade, a very interesting weapon. 15 might, 12 weight's a little bit of a bummer, pierces the Fang's curse, effective against armored units, and gives Miracle. Exclusive to heirs of rebels. What the heck does that mean? Well, we know that Leaf can use it, but who else can use it? Well, Nana and Diarmid can use it. We know all three of those have confirmed Holy Blood. And Fergus can use it too, which is kind of weird, considering that we don't know if he has any Holy Blood. But strangely, despite having Holy Blood outright confirmed by the plot, Marita can't use this. Why is that? Well, here's where I have seen a headcanon floating around online, and it is one of my favorite Fire Emblem headcanons of all time. I absolutely love this theory. The theory is that the sword's definition of Holy Blood has changed. It doesn't mean descendants of Crusaders now. It means descendants of Sigurd's army. Leif, Nana, and Diarmid are all descendants of people in Sigurd's army. As is said, Fergus is Beowulf's son. So that all checks out. And it's a really cool idea. It's like showing that Sigurd's army, they are the new Crusaders now. But okay, I suppose it's time to try and steal this guy's penta-axes. So, sorry about this penta-axe, General. I think I will go Fergus here. I don't think I'll be able to take all of them, but I want the Brave and the Master Axe at least. And let's remove the poison from his Venom Axe and have him take it back. Well, we won't be fighting any cavalry from now on, so I guess the hammer's going to be more useful. Yeah, he'll keep at least 2 of his axes. Is that in Wyvern range? I don't think it is. Okay. Oh, that better not be Wyvern range. That might just barely not be. Oh, they have 9 move. Ah! Yeah, make sure you're not equipping any really heavy things either, because then you could also get Lopriand. I suppose I can try and Vouge you. Ossian's mainly down here to try and be a lure for the Wyverns, potentially. But yeah, I may have already screwed up and lost Callian there. Forgot those guys had 9 move. Oh, and if I warp somebody, I either fatigue Lara or I fatigue Sara. Because I could, like, warp a foot unit in front of him. Oh, no, I can't actually do that because one of the spots is a... yeah. Oh, please, don't kill Callian. Okay, yep, Lopriand down there. One down there. Oh, no, that's not good either. I get the sense it's going to go for Leaf, though. We'll see. Yeah, I thought so. That's totally fine. Leaf's basically invincible at this point. He really wants, like, he's basically becoming a Master Knight now. He's like, hey, you said I could only be a Master Knight in genealogy? Nope, I'm gonna prove you wrong. He has his horse here, it's just invisible. That was a great level up too. Oh, I saw a bit of a pause there and I was wondering if he got a move level. But okay. Yeah, there's Luna. See, like I said, she rarely even gets to the follow-up pack to use her follow-up critical modifier. But of course, all this will be entirely for nothing if one of those stupid wyverns kills, Callian. Yep, there's Astra, which doesn't count as a follow-up attack. It's like, Astra equals 5 chances at Luna. Yeah, Marita's really fun. Yeah, so they're kind of making a beeline for Ced right now, but we'll see if they go for Callian or not. Oh, wait, no, that was the one that could have hit Callian, I think. Oh boy, yep, they are going for me. At least this one will probably die. That was probably an important Luna, too. Yeah, this is a bit of a pain, actually. Syas is gonna need to get out of there, because I know for a fact they one-shot him. But I'm... Oh, wait, that's not Coulter. Coulter's the last one. Oh, wow, he's actually doing more damage than I thought. Well, like, 14 defense is not bad. This is just a really, really strong Leaf. And he's about to get even stronger. Yeah, seriously, he basically is a Master Knight at this point. Yeah, I think that's Coulter. Okay. So the NPCs try and flee the map from, like, the very bottom, but I need to finish this quickly, otherwise those two NPC children are going to be gone. In fact, are they all actually gone already? They might be. I'm a little surprised Callian didn't get yeeted there. So, okay, we established this, that we were going to... Okay, okay, that's Coulter. Oh, boy. I'm gonna need to rescue Syas if I do this. Warp time. Leaf goes here. Yeah, somebody is gonna need to rescue... Oh, actually, hang on. Coulter's the only one who can get to him, and, Let's just say Coulter's not going somewhere pleasant. In about a few minutes. Now, again, remember that doing this will cause Syas to leave. Technically speaking, it's okay if he dies at this point, since I got the Bragi sword. I mean, you'd want to take his warp star first, but yeah. Yeah, I guess Karen told Leaf about that off-screen. Do you actually get this dialogue if you don't get Chapter 4X? I'm not sure, actually. Wait, Leaf, you're the opposite of a worthless print. Your stats are ridiculous right now. But yeah, no, I know that, yeah, Leaf is more thinking about the fact that he failed Avol and he failed the city back then. But no, like, he was not strong enough back then. You say that, but I feel like Ced could quite easily beat Raedric one-on-one eventually. Still, it's just, I love Ced both as a character and as a unit. Like, Ced is great. He's just a hero who loves helping people in need. And he just feels so much guilt when he loses people close to him. He's just a great older brother to Fee. I just don't know. Like, Ced is amazing. If I had a Mirage, if I was a Tokyo Mirage Sessions character, my Mirage would be Ced. Easily. Yeah, and this discussion here is kind of like, a bit of a hint as to maybe that headcanon about the Bragi Blade. Like, why it works the way that it does. Yeah, the whole actual backstory on how that happened and with the Crusaders is actually quite interesting. It's mostly explained in Kaga's designer notes. Basically, a bishop from Yggdrasil went to Arcanea, drank the blood of an earth dragon, and kind of got possessed, and he founded the Loptrian Empire, and yeah. But there were also a small sect of Loptrians that actually rebelled against the Empire. They were led by somebody named, I think they changed that in one of the heroes' localizations, but basically they took refuge at the Bragi Tower, so like, yeah, not all of the Loptrians were bad. Like, I think it was Myra that was the old name. Neither Seliph nor I, oh, I'm sorry. You have every right to call yourself better than Seliph, although granted, Seliph has a mount and you don't in its genealogy, so you probably don't, but still. Yeah, that's just the thing with, like, Ced. It's just like, Ced, I love Lewin and Ced so much, but they're not mounted, so everyone is just like, oh, actually, yeah. The thing that I refuse to accept right now is that, like, now people think Ira is bad in genealogy just because she doesn't have a horse. It's kind of a shame that, you don't get this dialogue if you want to keep Sias. But yeah, like, I do love the whole theme of the smaller scale conflict with Leif. That, like, yeah, his fight is not as big as the epic clashes between holy weapons that make up genealogy, but it doesn't mean it isn't important. I mean, you literally are. You are only 15. Also, I'm pretty sure Ced's like only 1 or 2 years older than Leif, so yeah. It's funny how much older he acts than everyone else, but then again, like, 17 is, like, ancient by JRPG party standards, because I like Ike's 17 in Path of Radiance, and that's actually pretty old for a lord. As is Hector, and he sounds like a grown man. Oh, okay, so this is actually giving full-on context for the next chapter. I suppose you're expected to get this dialogue before you're, like when you're ready to finish this chapter. So yeah, that's all context for there, but that'll come later, don't worry. For now, we need to worry about these freaking wyverns. I had gotten over my hatred of wyverns, and then this chapter happened. Or, you know, you can beat it with Nana, because that's fun. But yes! We have Ced.
The hard road Prince Leif has been forced to march has also made him strong.
Ced is a sage with pretty good base stats, a 3x follow-up critical modifier, 2 Vigor stars, an authority star, which he didn't even need, but they gave him one anyway, adept, and A staves. Am I forgetting something? Oh, right! He also has a personal weapon that has 20 might, 30 crit, and gives plus 20 to skill and speed. Effectively plus 14 speed due to its weight, but still, Ced is someone who exceeds the stat caps by nearly double, as long as his personal tome lasts, and at 50 uses and only 2 or 3 chapters left in the game, it probably will. Point Ced at any enemy you want deleted, including bosses, and he'll get the job done. And that's when he doesn't need to use Warp, Rescue, Sleep, Silence, Berserk, any broken staves you want. Yes, Sias can do all the A-staff things too, but I give Ced one advantage here. His decent durability thanks to his tome, plus being good at combat, means that he can re-warp himself anywhere he wants, even close to enemies, while Sias needs to be more careful doing that. In my view, this gives Ced a little more mobility. Speaking of mobility, he has 8 move when he's not re-warping. If Ced has any weaknesses, they are that due to the lower stat thresholds of Thracia and some fairly strong late game enemies, he's not as unhittable as you might think, especially against master weapons. He has to decide between attacking or using staves in any turn, and choosing him means you lose Sias's 3 authority stars. So, Sias is perfect staff support that also buffs your army, while Ced is perfect staff support that also deletes enemies.
I won't be defeated.
And now, I don't even want to stand in the forest. Although your hit rate is 30 attack speed. I actually have tears in my eyes right now. I love Sid so much. 30 attack speed. And cannon event. I am so sorry, but I Uno reverse those words right now. I also have 62 crit. Wait, did I just... Okay, interesting. But the fact that I got the crit animation there shows that happen. He doesn't have Miracle. I just 99 missed. Well, I guess wow, Coulter, you actually dodged Sid. That is something. That is no mean feat. However, yeah, so... I don't like these wide as Waynes. Sias can't get hit by those guys. I mean, if a second Loptrian spawns up there, Sias could be in trouble. I need to yeet that. And the Master Lance is basically self-fodder, unless you can somehow get Xavier up to A in Lances, or Dalsin. I mean, I wouldn't mind having the Vulnerary, though. Oh, okay, that guy's surprisingly nice. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the fact that, like, the Leonster army, like, enemy phase theme in Genealogy is just so hilarious. It's like, it is the happiest enemy phase theme of all time. Like, I guarantee you, if you were to show that to anybody who hasn't played Genealogy, they would swear that was an ally phase theme. So... yeah, I need to be able to yeet both these sleep staves in the next turn. Also, let's just make sure we do this. And, yeah, it's another pure water. But yeah, this dialogue is important because, yeah, the next chapter is basically oops all Loptrians and a couple of other things. But, like, there's a lot of, like, of that kind of stuff you're gonna have to deal with. I wonder if they're gonna end up going into, I mean, I actually don't trust him to one round with the Iron Axe, even with the crits, but we'll see. So, do I... No, I think I will just yeet this guy out of existence and then canter Dean downwards. It's funny, I wasn't actually even planning on using Dean. Like, he was never a serious member of my army, but, like, he's just so good that he sort of forced his way in. Like, yeah. I mean, it's fitting, because this is the last time that we get to use flyers. And yeah, if those wyverns go any further forward, I have my siege tomes ready. Don't really think I want to warp anybody in. I mean, I could warp Pern in and steal the sleep staves, but... that'll be a last resort if I can't actually get both of these this turn. So, yeah. I really hope that those guys don't take the children away, but... I don't know if Thracia canonically participates in child hunts, though. Okay. That's probably... yeah, that's definitely fine. Yeah, Jormungand has an oddly high crit rate. The few times that I actually deployed Diarmid to this chapter, he actually had problems, because, like, they have, like, 15 crit against him. Okay, historically, Dean has had problems with Loptrians, because, yeah, they usually have hit rates in the 25 to 30 range on him. Okay, but he dodged that time. That's fine. It'd be really funny if the Dragon Pike was also 1 to 2 range and had the Vantage effect. Oh, you're going for the children, right. That, I guess, makes sense because you're a Loptrian. You know, I had a feeling she was going to get hit there. I don't think the other thing can kill her, though, so she should be fine. And I also need to make sure Merida is not fatigued by the next chapter, because you need Merida in Chapter 24. And the game will only tell you... oh, right, she has a broken weapon. Okay. The game will only tell you that if you got Sias rather than Sid. Oh, okay. Oh, he didn't go away. That's good. just, like, I don't know why they go for the children. It doesn't really make sense for them to do so, but... Yeah, they didn't go away. That's good. It means that, like, let's just say those two Wyvern riders met with a terrible accident on their way back to Thracia, and, he can't quite get it. And he doesn't have a bigger star, does he? No, he doesn't. Okay. So, yeah. I think we've pretty much got this, and I actually barely... Yeah, I only used up 2 Forsettis, one of which was 99 miss, but still. Yes, I came so far only to fail so many times. More than I thought, but, like, it went pretty smoothly this time. And yeah, that one's only a vulnerary. That time also no Lotrian spawned in there. Like I said though, Connemore weirdly tends to be fine against them. So, oh, right. Syas actually has to unload his Warp Staff now. Because I'm going to lose him once Leaf seizes. So yeah, let's do that. Unload your Silence as well. And, weirdly, of all these things, I actually need that door key. Oh, I mean, huh. It would suck if I got Syas killed on the last turn, but, I mean, you know. He can get some fighting in. It's just like, so the thing with Syas is, normally I like showing off options in games that people almost never do. And if his counterpart were anybody besides Ced, I would be taking Syas here, no question. I would love to be one of the only YouTube Let's Plays that actually uses Syas in the finale. But it's just that his counterpart, and mutually exclusive counterpart, is my favorite Fire Emblem character of all time. So, like, I'm sorry, but I have to take the cliche option. And, oh, can I actually get... No, I should be able to get both of these, because Ced has 8 con 6. Yeah, Ced can get one of them. Yeah, no, let's do this. Okay, so, yeet, and then here, and then you take... Give me your Sleep Staff. And then... Hang on, can I actually do this? Because Fergus can only go there. I mean, Ced could Vigor Star, I suppose. Am I going to have to use a Warp Staff just to get that Sleep Staff? It's entirely possible, because I really want to end this map here, or some of the children are going to get taken. Okay, firstly, let's just, I think our Iron Blade should be enough. Because this will level her up, I think. Oh, wait, she has lower health. But that's fine. There we go. Marita has a very important job to do in the next chapter, so, glad that she's getting a little bit of training in. It's because I had to dismount Fergus because of those Rider's Banes. So... doesn't count as use of force. No, it doesn't count as use of force, Eddie. Thank you. Oh, it's that guy, I think. I think if that guy was dead, I would be able to get Fergus over there. Probably? Either way, I think I actually do still have to warp somebody. So... Hey, Pern? Would you like a ride on the Warp Express? I mean, who am I kidding? Everyone in Thracia likes rides on the Warp Express. You go in there... And miraculously, Sarah and Lara were not fatigued. Oh, actually, hang on. This will require me to use up a Blizzard, though, and Blizzard is just useful for its sleeps. Let's maybe not do that. Okay, no, this is more guaranteed. Yeah. I can sell the Yeoman gun later. Speaking of which, I've actually forgotten to sell that Ballista I had Tina steal a while back. And let's get one last mounted attack with Fergus in for good measure. Because I probably will still be using Fergus in the next maps. I mean, he's still really good dismounted. Sadly, Callion won't be able to use Lances, but, I mean, he'll still be fine-ish. It's kind of like Narron in Tearing Saga, using him in the later maps. Though I do like the way that Tearing Saga works, how, like, its final map also has, like, outdoor tiles in it, so you can still mount people, afterwards. That sounds bad, but yeah, you get the idea. And I think we should be done here, yeah. So I'm really sorry, Syas, but, I am a Ced stan. At last, we have reached Munster itself. Yeah, it certainly wasn't easy, you're telling me. Again, that's not a map that most people online say is hard. I had more trouble with it than I would have thought. So yeah, next chapter it's all about rescuing a bunch of NPCs while we take down Raedric once and for all. No, the villagers already told me about this, August. Yeah, so if you don't have Bragi's Blade by now and Syas is alive, you will get it here. Even if you don't, like, keep Syas, you'll still get Bragi's Blade right now. Yes, this. It's just like they remind you about, the bringing the Light Sphere. Unlike the Light Sphere, though, you are not soft-locked if you don't have this. You can still beat Raedric, it's just a lot harder. Yeah, a lot of people would love to see Syas wielding Valflame in a Genealogy remake. Like, I feel like he's the true heir to Arthas rather than Azel's children, which is what actually happens in Genealogy's epilogue. Yes, Syas is going to retire from warfare, and every soldier ever breathed a collective sigh of relief. No more having to deal with his leadership stars. So, next time we enter the Fiend's lair and face the Fiend himself. And find out his greatest weakness, a little girl with a staff.